Hello, everybody, again, and welcome to the Royal Blood United podcast, episode 3. I'm joined yet again by JCF55, the leader of Royal Blood United. And today we have a short, kind of quick, but simple podcast for you guys talking about the Battlefield 2042 beta. You want to say something, JC?
Battlefield sucks. Just
uh,
kidding.
the
I'm
shots.
just kidding. I love Battlefield. I'm not gonna lie. Although I did not play the beta, but I'm hoping JD here could fill me in on the details I'm not too familiar with. To start off, finish the talking points of Halo Infinite. So I just wanted to get somebody's perspective. How does everybody feel? And I'm talking out loud, and I don't really have a response from everybody. But how would everybody feel about this Pelican drop off of vehicles? I mean, who's ever heard of a Pelican dropping off a Ghost before? I mean, I found that to be very interesting in Halo Infinite. I don't know what you think about that, JD.
Um. Well, I mean, I thought it was kind of okay, because the whole multiplayer thing has never really been kind of a canon thing in the first place. I mean, so it didn't really bother me all that much, though. Yeah, I will.
Well, it bothered me because I feel like even though it was never really canon, you can make your own storyline to it. And if you keep in mind that the Halo multiplayer is supposed to be like, well, they kind of changed it in Halo 4, but before Halo 4 it was like an actual battleground, but in Halo 4 it became more of like a simulation type of thing. And I feel like that's what they're going with in Halo Infinite. Since it's a simulation, they're going to drop off a ghost via a Pelican because of the simulation. And I understand that part of the canon, but for somebody who is a old time original Halo player, seeing a Pelican drop off a ghost, I mean, unless we're talking about Halo 3 campaign when they're going to the Ark to defeat the Covenant with the Elite supporting them, at that point I understand where the Pelicans dropping off Covenant vehicles. But in this era of time period, I'm a little concerned with it. But at the same time, that's just me being an old fogey trying to be back to the roots of the way Halo was supposed to be played.
Yeah. It didn't bother me all too badly. And I think the major reason is exactly what you said, is the fact that Halo has kind of how should I say? It's like in the older Halos, the multiplayer kind of felt more like a kind of a training mode, like kind of thing where the Spartans are training against each other, or in the case of like Reach and Invasion, you actually have kind of a mission. You got to defend or attack. Uh, but in Halo, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo 4, um, and in Halo Infinite especially, it kind of feels more like it's just a bit of downtime for the Spartans, and they're kind of just casually like facing off against each other. So,
Yeah,
um,
I completely agree with that, and I guess seeing that point, I shouldn't have an issue with the ghost being dropped off by a Pelican. But I don't know. I guess it's just the new thing, the new way of how things are going, and it kind of makes me a little apprehensive. But changing gears from Halo Infinite, not that I don't want to stop talking about Halo Infinite, but JD, tell me about this. Tell me about this stuff that's going on in Battlefield. Tell me what you think about Battlefield. What do you think of the beta? What do you like? What do you don't like? As a longtime Battlefield fan and also contributor, as far as this community is not aware of, that you were one of top leadership in a Battlefield clan, and you've been all about Battlefield since the dawn of time. So I really want to know more about what your input is on this beta.
well, the first thing that I will say about Battlefield 2042's beta is that there's a lot of it that unfortunately I believe suffers from the uh, kind of the same old thing. And I'm not really certain how to say that without kind of explaining myself. Basically, if you've played every single Battlefield, like since like I came in Bad Company 2. So I guess I haven't played every Battlefield, but I've played, the most popular ones, and I played all the way up through, 1, 5, 3, 4, and I gotta say that a lot of the problems that the old battlefields had, from like visibility of soldiers on the battlefield to just basic problems like lag and just weird glitches, which I think people on YouTube have talked plenty about the like glitches and all, and it is a beta. But anybody who says this, I just want to make this very clear. Anyone who says, "Well, it's a beta, so you can't say anything negative about it," what I want to tell those people is, it's a beta. You can't say anything positive about it. So, I mean, eat crap.
To
uh,
compare and contrast with the Halo Infinite beta, I completely agree. Like for example, what I was just saying about the Pelican drop off. The beta is it's a preview of what the game is going to be like, and understanding that there is going to be a lot of bad things that you can say about it, whether it's the bugs, the glitches, whatever you don't like about the story or the gameplay that you're seeing, and it's honestly the opportunity for the gaming company that created the game to take in that input and make the game better before it gets released. Now, I'm just gonna sidebar a little bit. I also work at a school. I'm a teacher, so when I have to grade somebody's assignment, the last thing the student wants, even though they want feedback, is a whole laundry list of stuff to fix on their paper. Part of the reason is because they don't want to go back and do it over again. So I'm taking that into consideration for a lot of gaming companies. Yeah, they put out these betas, but I don't know how many of them actually take their laundry list of input and say, yeah, we're going to fix every one of these things. Something tells me they look at the huge list and they say, all right, well, we're going to fix the 10 easiest things first. Maybe work on the 5 medium things, and the hard things we'll put in as a software update halfway through the game's launch. So I don't know what you think about that in regards to what you're saying about the beta.
um, well, I mean, and that seems to be it's actually kind of true what you said there. That seems to be a lot of game developers is kind of their their rundown, like a thing that a lot of game developers have been doing is just, well, let's just release the game how it is, and if there are like serious problems with it, like major game breaking bugs and stuff like that, well, it's the world of the internet. We can just fix it later. um However, for Battlefield, I am slightly worried about if they kind of do that mentality, because while there is a lot of good in Battlefield 2042, there's also honestly quite a bit of bad. And it I don't know if I really want to bring up another YouTuber here, just because I don't want to boast his opinions or whatever. But Level Cap, a very very famous Battlefield YouTuber, basically explained a lot of the problems with it, as well as a lot of the good stuff. But I agree with basically everything he said, and I don't want anyone to think it was like, oh well, you're just agreeing with him. You don't have any of your own opinions. I have plenty of my own opinions. I think that the operators are a problem. I think that the old standard of the assault, being the kind of the medic, if you will, the recon being the sniper, and him being kind of those class systems just worked so well for Battlefield. Yes, it meant that snipers couldn't run with an AR. Yes, it meant that the engineer, uh, you know, had to run more kind of a close combat style in order to be effective. And yes, it meant that the support, didn't get to, kind of needed to learn how to use an LMG instead of an AR. But the problem with this game is that everybody is just going to run an AR, the super meta, overtuned weapon, and no one's going to use any other weapons in the game. So I don't know how you feel about that.
I tend to agree with that. From somebody who used to play the older Battlefield games, I really liked the class system that they had back in the day. Yes, like you said, you're not able to mix and match your weapons a little bit, and yeah, you're kind of restricted to what you have. But that brings in more of a I don't know how you could say maybe a realistic view. I don't know if you agree with that, JD. I feel like it brings in more of a realistic view. Yes, I mean in real life you can pick up any gun you want, but typically when you launch on a battlefield, you get your standard issue weapons, whatever your class is, and then you're running into battle with that. I don't know if you tend to agree or disagree with that at all, but I tend to agree with you about the class systems, and I tend to think that is a very good thing. Um, for somebody who played the older Battlefields, but not many of the new ones, I do have to say I did like Battlefield. I believe it was one, the one in World War One. if I'm not mistaken. Was that Battlefield 1, JD? If you can
Yeah.
correct my memory. Yeah, so Battlefield 1 was definitely very exciting. I enjoyed it heavily, especially since I love history. It was fun to kind of relive that in a different form other than Call of Duty. There's only Call of Duty before that, and several other games that aren't really that popular came out with games about those types of time periods and let you fully involved in that combat situation. But yeah, I'm really excited for the new Battlefield. I definitely have to get a copy of the beta. I think you said it ended today, though, correct?
Yeah, it should be ending today, like later on tonight. Um the
So, so anybody that did not get a chance, maybe listening to this for the first time before the end of tonight, which is Saturday, definitely look into downloading and playing it. I don't know how long it takes to download, but it's definitely worth a while. It's definitely a good buy. What were you gonna say, JD?
well, I was gonna actually say that I don't wanna like how should I say this? I don't want to disparage anyone who wants to try it. Like I just want to go ahead and make that very clear. If you are a diehard Battlefield fan and Battlefield is just the game that you enjoy to the highest degree in the gaming world, then you will like Battlefield 2042 for all its flaws. You will like the game. Like you will just notice a few things that don't exactly pointed out as Battlefield. It kind of points it out more as kind of more like a different game, kind of like Call of Duty or something like that. It kind of mixes the genre a little bit with the arcadey style instead of the team based shooter that Battlefield has been known to be.
Yeah,
Um,
I really do. I do really miss the old style of Battlefield. It was definitely a lot more fun. I mean, and anybody can say that about really any classic game. If you go back in time, they're typically a lot of fun.
yep. I do want to say a couple of good things before we get just completely destroyed by people, because I've seen many YouTubers, their like to dislike ratio just get absolutely annihilated, like because people just, I guess, can't take any criticism at all. But the really really good things about the really really good things about the game is the fact of first of all, the tornado, which some may call a gimmick and all, but I am a sucker, an absolute sucker for just really awesome, cool game mechanics like that, where it's just like, oh, like I don't know if you've played Battlefield 4, but like there's a map on Battlefield 4 where you're fighting along these islands, like these kind of island-ish areas, and the ship will actually come ramming on, like the big huge battleship will come ramming onto the island and beach itself, and it becomes a whole new thing on the battlefield that you have to fight around. I think it even becomes a new objective. And um, the tornado will actually kill you if you go too far into the tornado. It's like you go too close to the center, which I know that sounds kind of ridiculous. It's just like, oh well, crap, it's a tornado. Why would you try to stay close to it in the first place? Um, but the problem is because it's gonna be kind of a rare thing. Like it's gonna be like you're gonna find a tornado in like one out of every like 10 matches. People are going to just run straight to the tornado, and just play with it. It's going to happen. A PTFO don't mean crap when there's a tornado running through the map and you can fly
Kind
around it.
of, not a diverge into a different game, but it kind of sounds like the Super Smash Bros. I think it was Brawl map where you're I don't know if you remember, I'm talking about it at the Hyrule Castle. Do you play Super Smash Bros. Brawl, JD? I'm sorry, I never actually asked you that question.
I did, but I majorly just played the story, and then I just kind of didn't. I didn't play online or anything like that.
Well, no, it's more of like a party game. Like if you have a bunch of guys over that play video games and you got nothing else to do but drink and whatever, you all get together around the TV, put your Wii U on or your Switch on, and you play the map. But anyway, there's a map called Hyrule Castle. I believe it was in the most recent Brawl one on Wii U. And when you go on that map, there's a tornado. So this is why I brought it up. So there's a tornado on the map. If you remember Hyrule Castle from Legend of Zelda, I mean your name is Nintendo, so I'm assuming you do. Um, and when you go to Hyrule Castle, there's a tornado. So when you're fighting in Brawl, if you get caught by the tornado, it launches you in the air, and if you're too high damage, you automatically die. But the funny thing is, whenever you play on that map, you have nothing but the compulsory to go near the tornado. For one reason or another, you try to avoid it, but every now and then you're like, "Oh, I want to get near it. Maybe I trap somebody to go in it. Maybe I wind up running in it, and it helps me get out of a situation. Whatever it is." You tend to go near it, and then it's like you said with Battlefield, it's the lure of going towards the tornado, which might possibly kill you.
Right. And what's really cool is that your soldiers will actually like exclaim, like they'll just be like, the storm's coming, like they'll kind of be a little bit freak out about it. And I don't know if you've seen any gameplay of that, but when you actually get close to the tornado, it blares in your eardrums, like just like if you've ever heard of somebody talk about being in a tornado. It's super loud. There's a roar, stuff like that. It's just like that in game. Like you just get everything else just seems to drown
Wait,
away.
wait. You know people that have been in a tornado?
I live in Missouri. Like,
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But like people have lived going through a tornado.
well, if you're in a tough enough building and all that, then yeah, you can survive being run over by a tornado. It's and even just being close to a tornado, like within a couple of miles, you can hear a tornado roar. Like,
That
um,
must be scary.
it's funny because like being a part being a part of like that storm alley and all that, like tornadoes just don't really scare me that much anymore because it's so unlikely for them to actually hit over like a major town or city. Of course, though, when it does, it's a tragedy, because people don't,
Oh my god.
you know
That reaction was ridiculous. Of course, when it does, a lot of people tend to die, but
you know
not normally it doesn't happen.
well, I mean, it's true. It's completely true. Like
Oh my gosh, that's
like
hilarious. So
like
you live near Tornado Alley? Because they used to show me in school documentaries of Tornado Alley, and everybody would say, "Why would you want to live in Tornado Alley?" Like the whole alley's name is Tornado. Like, why would you want to live there?
well, you see, it's funny. I'm gonna jinx it right here. Okay, like this year we've had like none. Like we've had like usually we have at least 10 decent scares. A year. At least 10 good like hard heavy storms that have the possibility of producing tornadoes. But I mean, we're almost in December and we've not had a single like major tornado warning this year.
That's because you've had COVID, JD. COVID just
Like,
overtook
yeah,
everything.
COVID even stops tornadoes. It's just like tornadoes are under shutdown laws. It's just
they're,
like,
they're quarantining too. They're
oh my,
quarantining because of
oh
them.
my gosh. Yeah. Oh my. I tell you, it's fun. Uh,
It's always fun.
um, but yeah, on Battlefield 2042, I personally think these are kind of my last and best and worst opinion about it. My best opinion about it is that it is going to have different mechanics that are going to be slightly gimmicky, but at the same time, fun to use and definitely useful for soldiers on the ground. Um, the uh, I don't agree with Level Cap on his opinion that just because there are more players on the map than normal, that one single pilot in a jet isn't going to be able to annihilate the entire game. Of course he will. Like of course, like the one guy in the jet, the one guy in a helicopter, and the two guys down in tanks are going to dominate the map. They're never going to die, and if you don't have those guys on your team, you're going to lose. Like, hey, that's been a
Yeah,
Battlefield staple.
but it's not just Battlefield; it's any game. I mean, and let's backtrack to Halo. I mean, if you happen to get a Scorpion and a Wasp that have total map control, I mean, yeah, if you get the rocket or another weapon that can take them down, that's good. But just like in Battlefield, if you don't have the main power weapons or power vehicles in control of the map, you're just not going to win.
Yeah. And like I said, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate to say that, but at the same time, like I've said, it's just it's not even a question at this point. Like to even to just say that, just like, oh, there's not going to be any like major tryhards or stuff like that, and there's going to be too many people for them to like win the game by themselves. One good squad is all it's going to take, like to win a game in this game, just like any other Battlefield. Um, so I don't agree with that opinion that oh, there's too many people for them to just run over the game. Absolutely not. There will be that one God squad who will just run the ever loving frick over everybody and go like 80-0, and you'll never be able to capture a point. I'm worried that spawn killing will also return in this Battlefield, just simply because of all the extra air power that's in the air. There's more things in the air than any other Battlefield game I've played. There's more planes, there's more helicopters, and there's all this new weird stuff that they've added, like the sentry guns and stuff like that. Like I could literally imagine 30 players on the enemy team lining up on your spawn side, like, and just covering your spawn side with like 30 sentry guns, so that no matter which way you try to go, you'll get spotted. Like I could actually imagine that. I could see that happening. But the good news for the game is that it's a Battlefield, and it's a modern Battlefield with slightly futuristic stuff, not too far futuristic, but just slightly. So that's something everybody's been asking about, a return to the kind of the modern era. So it's going to be a good Battlefield. The worst parts is that it's going to have some really gimmicky crap in it that not a lot of people are going to like, and I think it's going to frustrate some people.
So what do you mean by gimmicky crap? I'm sorry. Just pretend I don't know what the gimmicky crap is. What do you mean by gimmicky crap?
By gimmicky, I mean like the operators. Like you're not going to, because there's the same operators on each team. And this was a major problem I had in the game, is whenever a teammate ran around a corner, I had no idea he was a teammate, because the thing doesn't appear over his head until like a second and a half after he turns that corner. So I just.
But there's team killing. But there's team killing. So how would you?
I mean, there'll be a hardcore mode, which means that team killing will be allowed in that mode. But in normal mode, no, you can't hurt your teammates.
So if you can't kill him, so what are you worried about? Wasting your bullets on him? Like, I'm a
yeah,
little confused.
actually,
Okay.
yeah, because here's one of the other major problems, is that you can edit your gun mid game. Like, so you can swap your ACOG with red dot. You can swap your foregrip with a grenade launcher attachment. You can swap your magazines for different types of bullets. So basically, in normal Battlefields, you would start with like 200, 300 bullets. Like, it's just the standard capacity, what you would carry. In this game, each of your magazine types have about a third of what you would normally carry, and it's split amongst them. So your normal mags will have 70 extra rounds. Your close combat mag will have 90 rounds, and then your long range rounds will have 50, 60 and all. But there's the problem with that, is you're going to run out of, if you're a good player like me, in Battlefield, you're going to run out of ammo constantly, and you're never going to be able to run any other gadget in the game besides the ammo pack. And because everybody in the game looks the dang same, we're playing Star Wars: The Clone Wars here. I can't tell who's an enemy and who's a friend when they run around a corner, so I blow half my magazine into a guy when he turns the corner, just to realize, oh, hey, there's a little blue marker over his head. He's friendly, So
That sucks.
So yeah, so that needs to be fixed like immediately. There needs to be, I don't know, there needs to be outfit colors or something like that. Like, there needs to be some form of differentiation. That
You need to make the armor completely red and the other armor completely blue.
Yeah, they've got to do the Halo now. They've got to go to the red versus blue.
We got to do the opposite. So Halo's now getting away from that, where Battlefield's going into that.
Yeah.
We gotta switch it up like that.
Where you see though, is like in the old Battlefields, the armor or whatever outfits they were wearing were different enough that I actually knew who was a friend and who was a foe. But in this game, like I said, they're the exact same operators. So, and which right in the beta, there's four of them. So when you have the same four people running around, even if there's 64 of them, they're still the exact same model. So it's hard. It's hard to tell them apart. And with the limited ammo capacity that you have, you also don't know who has ammo and who doesn't. So because everybody can have ammo, like literally everybody. So uh, it's just a really weird like gimmicky concept, and I feel like they've moved away from like the typical Battlefield class system, and they're moving towards like just everybody gets everything. And one thing, speaking of that, I want to talk about is the end game screen. When you finish a game, it doesn't come up with a scoreboard. It gives you a few little like nubbins of information, like, hey, you did this, and this really well. But then it doesn't show you anyone else's score. And this is a trend because I'm pretty sure it even happens in Halo Infinite, like where you don't get to see everybody else's score. Or am I stupid?
No, so to add on to that, so what I noticed in Halo Infinite, at least when I put it on my Xbox, because when I put it on my PC, it was awful. If anybody remembers the last podcast, I was complaining about it the whole time. But when I put it on my Xbox, I noticed that when you go to the back, the game post game Carnage report, you could look through it and you could see who did what on your team, who did what on the other team. The reason why you weren't able to see it, most likely, JD, and I'm not blaming you at all, is that it's not as user friendly as the old post game Carnage reports on the old Halo games. So the old ones, the whole board came up right away, and the first three things was kills, deaths, assists, or whatever. You know what I mean? And then you looked up everything else that you needed as you flipped through the pages. Now on this one, on Halo Infinite, they'll show you what you personally did first as like the front screen, and then if you hit back or B or whatever button you hit on the keyboard, and then you go back to like then you could click on your roster and you could click on like your team roster, and then once you get your team roster you could switch between your team and the other team, but you have to go through like three different steps to get that, and that can be very annoying because if you're, let's just say you're in a game thread where you're going into another game right away because your loading screen is going quicker for some reason, while you're looking at the other team's score or your team's score, your next game might be starting. So in the old version, it was all right there. In the new one on Infinite, I noticed you have to kind of look a little bit for it. I don't know if Battlefield's the same or different, but if they happen to be the same, then that's probably what they're doing. I feel like that's a trend that all these gaming companies are trying to lean towards, trying to make it more focused on what you've done than anybody else, because obviously you care more about what your kill death was and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's yet again, I hate continuing to bring up level cap here, but what he said is they seem to be moving towards this the whole participation trophy bull crap that people keep trying to spout. Is just like, everybody is a winner, everybody did well, nobody did bad, and shame on you for wanting to say, hey, listen, you need to be better at this, like, um and I seriously just disapprove of that. Like, I people are naturally competitive. Like, people want to see that they are the best, like, at what they're doing. Like, they want to see, hey, I was the top of the leaderboard, I have all the bragging rights, and all that. While yes, it makes you kind of a smaller person, for bragging, it's still something that any human being usually craves and desires. Is what is that the right word, vindication? um I don't know.
I wouldn't say, no, maybe vindication. I would say like notoriety, understanding how they are, comparing, contrasting. I mean, in my opinion, I see where you're going with it. I think the best no, I'm gonna get blasted for this too, but I think the best leaderboard and post game cards report I've ever seen was probably on Call of Duty, where they have on the front page the first three that were the best in the lobby, their avatar or whatever their character is, up on the front page with the kills. And then underneath that, they have the list of everybody in the lobby and how they did. I don't know how you feel about that, JD. I know you're not really a big Call of Duty person, but that's something that they did that I think should be used by every single gaming company and game developer that goes ahead and does PvP style shooters.
Right. Well, We do need to go ahead and wrap this up because we do have game night here soon. Uh,
True.
I'll I'll just say one last thing is that I just hope that EA isn't forcing the hand too hard on the developers of Battlefield to make their game more like every other game, because every game has a soul, like, and a unique identity. And if you make Battlefield like a Call of Duty big team battle, then it's no longer Battlefield. It'd be just like, for instance, if Halo started just implementing like every instance of Battlefield, if they abandoned small maps and small team like stuff and just went fully on to like large maps, it would no longer be Halo. Like, or at least it wouldn't feel like Halo. It'd feel like PlanetSide. You know.
Exactly. I
So
completely agree.
so while I do not want to limit the imagination and creativity of game developers, I want to say stay in your aisle. Stay in your lane. Keep what makes your game unique and update and upgrade those unique identities. Don't feel like you need to copy or uh, add things that are in other popular games just to try to make your game more popular. Like,
Well, then, JD, you're speaking to the choir here, and at the same time, you're probably speaking to a lot of angry game developers that are watching this podcast, if any of them are, because a lot of them tend to do that. And we brought this up in one of our original podcasts about how they seem to take things from other organizations, and then we always bring up and then I always bring up the point that no idea was ever original. But again, we're starting to digress. And for those of you who are watching this podcast for the first time and are confused by anything that we talked about as far as referencing things, please go back to the old podcast and watch them. We don't make this just for fun. We make this for all you people that are watching to get a better understanding of how we as a community think and how we as a gaming community, not just our community, but the whole gaming community as a whole, thinks about new game releases, new games that come out, as well as thinks about the way we want to bring about the change to the gaming universe to make it better for all of us. JD, close us out.
all right. Well, that's going to be it for this time. If you guys like these videos, don't forget to subscribe to the Clan YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you can see when these come out, as well as our live streams. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next time.
See y'all later.